Ayo, what's going on, viewers of the Tubenstein? My name is Tyler, and if you're popping your Chico cherry, I'd like to introduce you to the channel that reports the dark, dirty, and dangerous things of cryptocurrency, but then always makes you leave with a smile, just like this local station news reporter.
Sweetwater police say they welcome some of the panel's recommendations, but money will be a key factor as to whether or not they'll be implemented. But one thing money can't buy is your mama. She's for free and everybody knows it. Robert Gilmartin, News Center 7, Sweetwater.
You know our mama jokes. It's time for Chico Crypto. Well, this was my Friday shot video, which I post on Monday, over 72 hours in advance, so I'm not going to even try and discuss the price, because it could be anywhere with how the markets acted last week. Above 5K, possible. Below 5K, possible too. But if I had to take a guess, I would say we are falling below. Why? Well, to understand what is going on, we need to get our knowledge hats on regarding the state of the current climate of the global economies and what Bitcoin is perceived as to the general public. So first, what the freak is going on in the current climate of this world? Well, things started to get really real last week as celebrities, professional athletes, and health ministers started to contract the virus. Large events, they started to get canceled. Burn Dog and Creepy Joe had canceled their rallies. And then when the athletes started to contract it, it prompted the postponement of the NBA, NHL, MLS, and MLB seasons. In March Madness, it's gone. It might have to be called April, May, or even June Madness, or it just might not happen this year. Besides the virus, last week was a breakout of an oil price war, which I made a killer video on. I recommend you watch it. As always, it's down in the description. So what I said in that video is we have a leveraged, debt-ridden, fracking house of cards ready to crumble here in the US of A, which could be the ignition which ripples and tears throughout the entire US economy. Which means pressures are mounting everywhere, on top of the globe's world power and the controller of its reserve currency. Lower oil prices mean lower value transactions in the petrodollar. At $60 a barrel, there was a certain global demand for greenbacks, dollars, but now at $30 a barrel, that demand's value is now cut in half. Not good for the US of A. Which is amplified because we're in the middle of a massive liquidity crunch. Corporate America is still suffering, even with Trump's massive tax cuts and his trample-down economics. We slashed rates beginning last week, the largest single slash since the 2008 recession. And the Dow Jones, even after that, still crashed and burned. But by the end of the week, it pumped. What's gonna happen today? Well, like I said, I shoot these videos on Friday, but I wouldn't doubt over the weekend things got worse regarding the coronavirus. Now, late last week, there was already talk about the New York subway system possibly going down. The Wall Street Journal posted this last Thursday. New York City subway service could be reduced under coronavirus. In the article, Sarah Feinberg said the Metropolitan Transportation Authority could reduce subway frequency or switch to a Sunday service schedule as ridership declines. She added that the MTA has contingency plans for major disruptions such as storms. Well, no contingency for pandemics. And what people need to realize is the subway is the lifeline of New York City. It's what keeps the economy of the city running, getting workers to their jobs and back home. 5.5 million people each weekday. This goes down, New York goes down. And that governor of New York, Cuomo Mijumo, he announced Thursday something super weird and super drastic. Let's watch now.
The second way you reduce the spread besides testing is reduce the density of people. We all talked about how it's contagious, touching surfaces, etc. Reduce the density. So we're going to take very dramatic actions in that regard. To reduce the number of people in contagious environment, no gathering with 500 people or more.
Yup, gatherings of over 500 people are frickin' banned. Well, a working subway system is definitely over 500 people in thousands of spots across New York City. You know what else is a gathering of over 500 people? The madness that is the New York Stock Exchange trading floor. And guess what? They're preparing to close the trading floor and attempting to operate trading remotely. And the New York Stock Exchange president, Stacey Cunningham, talked about this last week. Let's watch now.
What would happen to the floor in the event someone tested positive for coronavirus right here? Let's listen in. If there is an outbreak, we can clean the floor and reopen pretty quickly as well. So that's something we're not planning to close the floor at this time, but as you mentioned, we could, and we could trade fully electronically.
Now, the NYSE has had a business continuity plan, BCP, in place for decades here on the floor in the event it needs to close for a flood, a snowstorm, or any other disaster. But this plan would allow the NYSE to trade electronically without the floor if it needs to. The market makers and floor brokers who are here can continue to participate in that electronic trading, though there may be some limitations around things like the closing auctions.
So I would not doubt by next week we see this contingency plan come to full fruition, as it's just a matter of time. But a physically closed electronic-only trading for the entire New York Stock Exchange for an extended period of time has never happened. It's a world of uncertainty for the traditional markets, and how the stock exchange will function without a physical floor is to be seen, if at all. But I'm sure you're wondering about Bitcoin and how this is going to affect it. Well, I'm going to be honest. What happened on Thursday with the flash crash was just a glimpse into a dark future that has a light at the end of the tunnel. So on Friday, there was a great Reddit post and thread titled "Bitcoin isn't a stock. There is no need to sell." The poster said to all those people selling Bitcoin because of the virus, Bitcoin isn't a company which makes money from commerce. It's understandable why the stock market is dropping, but you don't need to sell BTC just because shares are dropping. You hold a digital currency, not a share in Bitcoin. And in it, we get a wide range of arguments that can basically be sorted into two camps. Those who think Bitcoin during an economic contraction and recession or depression will get trashed, and those who think it's going to get trashed and will eventually break out. Well, my friends, my honest thoughts are this. Finance 1.0 is going to trash any alternative asset with it as it goes down. As we know, BTC got trashed due to liquidation free-for-all, which always has its ties back to BitMEX and its 100x leverage. A Finance 1.0 tool that got amplified on top of BTC, trashing it down to the 3K levels. And Crypto Hayes, aka Arthur Hayes, the man behind the scenes of BitMEX, put out this post before the flash crash, putting forward his great insights. Will Bitcoin act as a safe haven as macroeconomic volatility returns? Even though it's trading below 8K, Bitcoin has outperformed most global equity indices in 2020. However, you gotta go down to go up. And here is where it gets hilarious. The fear and uncertainty facing humanity is enough to inspire a global margin call. Bitcoin will not escape. While I don't believe we will revisit 3K, max pain probably resides somewhere between 6K to 7K Bitcoin. So basically, he set up everyone. Then an SBF Alameda put out a great fact Twitter thread about the possibility that this was no hardware issue with BitMEX, as BitMEX went down for maintenance during the crash, but was done intentionally to save a liquidation free fall, pushing BTC to zero. I mean, right when BitMEX went down, BTC rebounded back from 3,600 to 5,200 on other exchanges. That right there just proves what BitMEX and Finance 1.0 tools are providing against the BTC price: extreme downward pressure. And this can be more clearly seen on this dot plot of liquidation. During its maintenance, blank, and the price immediately shot up. But right when it got turned on, liquidations began and the price got held. When a single exchange with 100x leverage, BitMEX, can create a liquidation death spiral, crashing BTC down so hard that exchanges have to fake maintenance to save it from going to zero, we have a serious problem. This crash has inside job written all over it. Everybody is losing money. The only one making huge profits is BitMEX by liquidating the market. And by the time people realize what's happening, BitMEX will own a huge percentage of the Bitcoin supply. And that is not a good thing. So please take your grubby, greedy hands out of that exchange and any Finance 1.0 tool offering 100x leverage on crypto. These tools were not built for you and me. They were built for those in charge to downright forcibly take Bitcoin out of your hands. But BitMEX isn't going away. They started right back up, and that leads me to believe if Finance 1.0 feels more pain, which I expect it to, Bitcoin and Finance 2.0 will too. Any alternative asset outside of the United States control is going to get trashed in the short term. Friday, it made me feel good to see gold, another alternative asset, getting crushed to end the week. Which means Finance 1.0 is not going to go down without a fight, and they will bring Bitcoin with it, and they will use every opportunity they can to sneak in a jab at crypto and the markets, as the powers that be understand now that this is definitely a competitor to their beloved USD. Let's just hear what Mitch McConnell had to say about this crisis.
One is reminded of the famous comment from President Obama's first chief of staff: you never want a serious crisis to go to waste.
Yes, just like Obama's friend said, you never want to let a good crisis go to waste. And those sneaky politicians are using a virus to pass some bills. First one, the Coronavirus Economic Aid Package, H.R. 6201, which the U.S. House will pass over the quiet of the weekend. And here's a full breakdown of the support it got from the House. Bipartisan, with every single Democrat voting yes, and a majority of Republicans voting yes too, after the Don tweeted his support before the official vote. Although 40 Republicans voted no on the bill, even after their overlord told them to vote yes. I wonder why. Well, these are the good people still in the House who know this is a bill where Trump and Pelosi, they don't hate each other. They are the best friends when it comes to passing this. Texas Republican Senator Chip Roy, who voted no, tweeted this about Donnie supporting the bill. The fact Donald Trump supports the Pelosi deal does not absolve from opposing legislation that will harm small business, expand government massively, put pressure on health resources, all when we don't even know what it will cost. And that was just one bill. And you know Chico does his research, and I found out what they are really trying to get passed. Last week during the coronavirus madness, when our House and Senate should be figuring out how to get this under control, the Senate met to discuss the Earn It bill, a bill to protect children online. But in reality, it's a sneaky bill, which will give the US government backdoors into encryption technologies. It's literally a bill against technology, privacy, and even cryptocurrency. And it's being snuck into the Senate during this craziness. If this is brought into law, no consumer, personal, or financial information would ever be safe because hackers would simply find and use all those established backdoors. So it's weird, for a while in 2019, I thought we might have been near the join you stage. ICE launched back, maybe a Bitcoin ETF. But as time goes on and we see everyone's true colors, we have just entered the fight you stage, and I have ready arms. Cheers, I'll see you next time.